Good morning, this is your Math Sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is Algebra 1 Star Review 2023 Practice Problems 12 through 22. It says a part of a quadratic function, f, is graphed on the grid. So they're telling us this quadratic function, we know it's going to be shaped like that, shaped like a U. So we have part of it shown there. What is the domain of the part of the function shown? Well, the key word is domain. Well, domain, remember, is the x values. So we need to focus on the x-axis. And what we need to do is always go from left to right. And if I draw a line down, we cross at -1. So -1, and it's a solid. And remember, if we have a solid dot, it gets a less than or equal to. If it's a hollow, it gets a less than. Hollow and infinity or arrows get a less than. So it gets this symbol, less than or equal to x, and we have an arrow. Well, that arrow goes to infinity because it's going to get wider and wider and wider. So less than infinity, but we don't write that part. So we can ignore this part and then we're going to flip it. So x is greater than or equal to -1. So all real numbers greater than or equal to -1. So that's our answer to this one. Now, if they'd asked for the range, they didn't, but while we're here, we're going to talk about range. Range is the y values. Now, they didn't ask for this. Well, the range, we start at the bottom and go to the top. Well, the lowest part of that graph is at 1. So 1, and it's a solid line, and solids get that, so less than or equal to 1. And once again, we have an arrow, so we're going to infinity. Had they asked for the range in this case is y is greater than or equal to 1. But they asked for the domain, so this is the answer that we wanted. All real numbers greater than or equal to -1. Notice they had all real numbers greater than or equal to 1. That would have been the range, but we don't want the range. We want x is greater than or equal to -1 for the domain. Okay? All right, moving on to number 13. The graph of a linear function is shown on the coordinate plane. Which function best describes the linear relationship between shown in the graph? I'm going to go through this two ways. I'm going to go through it first the way I'd like you to do it, then we're going to do it with Desmos. So, best thing, if I look at these are all in y equals mx plus b format. B is the y-intercept. Well, where is our y-intercept? It's right here at 2, so we know it's a +2. And then our slope, remember slope, or m, is y over the x's. So I go to that point, if I go up 1, that's a +1 up, and moving to the right is a +2. So +1 over +2 equals 1/2. So we have 1/2 x. Y equals 1/2 x plus 2. My answer choice is here at letter D. Now, if you did not remember that, we could have gone to Desmos and done this via Desmos. And for whatever reason, I don't have a Desmos window open, so it's going to take just a moment. You know what? While we're waiting, I'm just going to pause this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in each of these equations till I find one that crosses right here and looks like this. Okay? So basically, and also I could have plugged in 2 points. So we're going to look at this a couple ways. First off, I'm going to look at it and go, you know what? I see that I have 0, 2 as a point. And I also have 2, 3 as a point. And I could plug this table in, x, y, 0, 2, 2, 3, and that will give me that equation. So let me do that first. I'm going to do that first, then I'm going to plug in all the answer choices. So I'm going to give us a couple different ways to look at this. So sharing screen. And if I put the plus button in the table, I can put in 0, 2, and then 2, 3, hit the domino button, and I get my equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 2. So 1/2 x plus 2, the only one that has 1/2 x plus 2 is D. So that would give me D right away. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is just to plug in the answer choices. So we have y equals 2x minus 4. Well, that's crossing down here at -4. That's wrong, so it can't be A. So A is wrong. Then we have y is 2x plus 2. That's crossing at the right spot, but we should be crossing at -4, and this isn't. So that's wrong because it's not crossing at -4. So this one is wrong. Then I have y equals 1/2 x minus 4. And once again, crossing at the wrong spot, so it can't be that one. And then finally, we have y equals 1/2 x plus 2. And we're crossing at -4, and we're crossing at 2. That's the one that's our answer. Answer choice to 13 is D. Okay. Moving on to number 14. Which statement about f of x equals 12x squared minus 3x plus 27 is true? Again, this is like saying y equals 12x squared minus 36x plus 27. Don't forget, f of x just means y. The zeros are 2/3. This means the zeros are the same as your roots. They're your x-intercepts. All right? The roots, the x-intercepts are zeros. It's where they cross the x-axis. And I have a squared, so I know this is going to be a parabola. So I can either cross it 2 times. It's possible I could cross it no times. Or it's possible that I touch the x-axis once. Okay? So, which one of these is true? Well, first off, what I could do is plug this equation in and then see which one gives me this. But I also know that they give me 2/3 and 3/2. Let's play with those 2/3 and 3/2 real quickly. Let's turn them into decimals because decimals works in decimals. So 2 divided by 3 is 0.666. So we have a plus or minus 0.666. Here we have a 3/2. So 3 divided by 2, we have a plus or minus 1/2. Here we have 2/3, so that's 0.66. And it's just a positive 0.66. And here is a positive 1.5. Okay, so let's play with this equation. What we're going to do is we're going to flop over to Desmos, and I'm going to plug the original equation in, and then I'm going to see which ones match it. So sharing screen. And sharing screen, we have y equals 12x squared minus 36x plus 27. So that's our original. First off, we only touch it one time. If we only touch it one time, we only have one solution. That means we only have one zero. So the only zero The only one that says that happens to be C and D. So if I go, oh, it touches that at 1.5, so my answer has to be D. And let's look back at that real quickly. So our graph looked like this. This is what we saw in Desmos. And we saw that this was 1.5 comma 0. It only touched at one place, so that means we only have one. Well, the one is 1.5. Is this one is D. So this should be my answer. But if we're still not sure, it's really a good idea to plug these answer choices in. So let's plug all these in and see which one gives me that original graph. So I'm going to go back to Desmos, because we want to make sure we pass this test the one time. So I have that original equation, and I'm going to go, well, which one gives me exactly the same one? So the next one was y equals 3 parenthesis 2x minus 3, and then 2x plus 3. And it's like, oh, that purple one doesn't match, so it's clearly not A. I can cross that one out. So then I'm going to go to B. And B is y equals 3 is 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 3. Well, guess what? That's exactly the same equation as we had above, so it can't be B. Those are exactly the same. Oh, one thing to notice is this has -1. It does cross at the same spot, but it only touched it one time, so that one's wrong. Then we also go to C, and C is 3 parentheses 2x minus 3, doesn't have this part right here. I go to the AB button and I press a 2. And I get the same graph, all right? But this says 2/3, and this said, and look, the point shows 1.5. This says 1.50. I'll come back to this in just a second. Let me swap over. Look where I have it highlighted, and I stopped to share, and I said, oh, it said it was 1.5. Well, no, they said 2/3, so that's wrong. Well, when I look at D, D is exactly the same one, and it says 1.5. So D is my answer. Tricky problem. They were trying to be tricksters on that one. Okay, number 15. The graph of a linear function is shown below. What is the slope and y-intercept that best represent this? Well, first off, the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So it crosses at 0, -4. And this could be written as y equals mx plus b. So b is -4. That's my y-intercept. So let's go ahead and mark that. We know b is -4. So that's going to go here for my y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. And then it asks for the slope. Well, the slope, I'm going to go up till I find a nice point. There's a nice one. And I go up 1, up 2, because remember, slope is y over the x's. So I went up 2, and then I went to the right one. So that's +2 over +1. So my slope is a +2. And I know it's positive because if I look at the angry man, positive slope is here. This matches this, so it's a positive. So that gets rid of all these answers. So, and we went up 2, up 1, 2, and then over 1. So 2 over 1. So that gives me this value right here of E. Now, I could have also just taken a couple points off the graph. And I'm going to go ahead and make a T-chart, X and Y. And let's say I choose 0 and -4. And then I choose 1 and -2. And let's say I choose 2 and 0. And I can go to Desmos and I can plug it in and it'll give me my equation. It'll give it to me in y equals mx plus b, and we just need to write it down. So I'm going to do that real quickly. I'm going to hit the plus button. I'm going to hit the table, and we have 0, 0 and -4. We also have 1 and -2. And then we have 2 and 0. Oops, not 20, but 2 and 0. We're going to hit the domino button. We want linear or greatest linear, and we have y equals 2x minus 4. I'm going to write that down. And we're going to go back and look back at what we originally had. So we have y equals 2x minus 4. There's my y-intercept of -4, which was b. M is my slope, and that's 2, which we wrote there. Okay? So E and F or E and B are my answers for 15. Moving on to 16. Which expression is equivalent to this? Well, I really wish you could solve all this. I'm going to make a shortcut real quickly. 5 times 6 is 30. That gets rid of these two. So we know it's one of those two. Now, I could show you how to multiply. We could spend time doing that, but let's go ahead and use Desmos as our friend. What we're going to do is we're going to plug this in, and we're going to see which ones of these actually match. So I'm going to plug in exactly what they gave me. But I need to go to the share screen. And clear this mess out. And they gave me parenthesis z. Oh, and it gives me a bad thing. So I need to go, oh, if it gives me a z, I'm going to put in an x. So x plus 5, close parenthesis, then x squared minus 4x plus 6. All right, so it gives me this thing, and I can't see all of it, so I'm going to zoom so I can see it. And I get a weird squiggle. I really do. Zoom in just a little bit. So that's what I get. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start plugging in answer choices till I get that one. Now, by our guess, we eliminated it down to A and C, but we're going to at least plug in a couple of them. So the first one they gave us was A, so we'll go X, use the B button and get a 3. And then we have plus 5x squared plus 6x. And then we have plus 30. And it's like, yeah, that's close, guys, but that's not it. Okay, we'll go ahead and try B. So it's not A, because we just tried A. We can cross A out. We're going to try B and go, well, we have x squared plus x plus 11. And that doesn't match at all. Not really that close. So it's not B. So we're betting it's going to be C. So we're going to go ahead and type in C. And we have x, and we're going to use the AB button to get the cube, plus x squared minus 14x and plus 30. Hey, it overlapped. They're exactly the same. So our best answer choice is C. So the answer to number 16 is C. All right, number 17. The graph of a quadratic function is shown on the grid. All right, which statement is best supported by the graph? The function has a 0 at 6, the minimum value is 9, etc. So let's talk about this. Okay, first off, zeros occur where it hits the x-axis. So this is the 0, the root, the x-intercept. These two where it hits that's where it hits the x-axis. This point right here is the vertex, and because it's the lowest point, it's a minimum. Well, this one is not shaped like that. It's shaped like this. So this vertex is a max. So the minimum function is 9. No, that's the max value. So this is wrong. The function has a 0 at 6. Well, no, it has a 0 at -6. So -6, 0, and 0, 0. So that's false. The vertex of the graph is at 9, -3. This is the vertex, but the vertex they have is at -3 and 9, because this is my x, this is my y. So that's wrong. The equation of the axis line of symmetry. The line of symmetry is what cuts the graph in half. So if I were to cut this graph in half, that would be right here. And what does it go through? And it's always going to be x equals some number. What number does it equal? -3. So x equals -3. So our answer is, in fact, D. So that takes care of that problem. Number 18. New houses are built in a neighborhood. The table shows the exponential. That's going to be important. Change in the number of houses in the neighborhood over the last 6 years. Which exponential function best models the data? Okay, I can either put in all the equations or I can put in the values. What I'm going to choose to do is I'm going to put in the values and find which one gives me that answer. So I'm going to go to Share, Desmos, and I'm going to put the plus button, Table, and I'm going to enter those values. So 1, enter 2, enter 3, enter 4, enter 5, enter 6, enter. And 27, 35, 45, 68, 93, and 124. So I just input the values. Once I do that, I'm going to go to this domino button, and it gives me the linear regression, but that's not what I want. I have to push the arrow and select exponential. When I select exponential, I get this equation, 18.94 and 1.36. Well, looking at my answer choices, my best choice appears to be C. Now, just to make sure that C is the right one, I'm going to start inputting other ones and see how they look. So the first one, 1.4, parenthesis, 18.9, and I'm going to raise it to the x power. And it's like, no, that black line doesn't look like that, so that's not right. So then I go, well, the next one was 27 with a 1.3. No, that black line's not close, but it's not really right. So that one's close, but not really right. So I don't really like B. Don't like A, don't like B. Let's try C and see how close C is. So C should be really close, not exact because of rounding, 18.9 and 1.4. It's like not perfect, but really, really close. That's about as close as we're going to get. Let's try the last one just to make sure that it's not the last one. So 1.0. 3, and 27. The best way is to enter the table. Well, clearly it's not D, so our best answer choice is C. Okay, so best answer choice is C. Moving on to number 19. What solution to 10 minus 3m equals this? Well, I'm going to have to rewrite this so I can put it in the Desmos. So I'm going to put it in 10 minus 3, n minus 5, squiggle, 2 times 5 minus n. So that's what I'm going to drop in there. So I'm going to move over and share my screen again. And 10 minus 3 parenthesis n minus 5 squiggle 2 parenthesis 5 minus n, and I get 15. So and my answer in this case is 15. So n equals 15, which really is m equals 15. So 15 is my answer choice. All right, number 20. Which value represents the rate of change of y with respect to x for this function? This is the pain. This is one that if you don't get right, it's not the most important. I need to solve for y. I need to go y equals mx plus b. And I know that because they say rate of change. Rate of change is my key phrase. So that tells me I'm looking for my slope, which means I'm looking for m. To do that, I need to move this x. Well, if I move this x to the other side, I now have negative 4/7 y, and when it crosses over, it becomes a negative 2/5 x plus 3/2. I have to have y equals 1, which means I need to multiply by the reciprocal or multiply by the flip. So this will be negative 7/4. I have to multiply this also by negative 7/4. I'm going to distribute across. Well, this will go away. So when I do that, I end up with 2 times 7. Negative times a negative is a positive. That's by the triangle. So what's left is a positive. 2 times 7 is 14. And 5 times 4 is 20. X, 7 times 3. Oh, by the way, this is a positive and a negative, so this becomes a negative 21/8. All right, now we need y equals mx plus b. Well, that's my y-intercept, so it can't be that. I need this, but I don't see my answer choice. And the reason why is it's not reduced. But if I take my calculator, 1/4 divided by 2/0, and I go math, enter, enter, I get 7/10. So 7/10 is my answer. Don't worry too much about that problem. Do the best you can. If you get it, great. If you don't, you can miss one and still master. All right. A system of linear equations is shown. What is the value of x in the solution to this? Well, I'm going to do this via matrices. All right. And you will have a calculator available that does it on the STAAR test. So blue, matrix, arrow over to the word edit. Well, in this case, I have 1, 2 rows and 1, 2, 3 columns. So 2, enter, 3, enter. And if I was writing my matrix, this would be like having ones here. So this would be 1, negative 3, and 7, 1, negative 2, and 2, where this is my x column, my y column, and then my number column. They always have to line up. The x's have to line up, the y's have to line up, and the numbers have to line up. So I'm going to input those values just like that. 1, enter, negative 3, enter, and 7, enter. 7, enter. Then 1, enter, negative 2, enter, and 2, enter. Once I have that, I have to leave the matrix, which is just blue and mode. Then I'm going to go back. Blue, matrix, arrow over to math. I'm going to drop way down to letter B, which is RREF, press enter, and then blue matrix and enter twice. And my answer choices are -8 and 5. So -8 and 5, where this is my X and this is my Y. Please notice the first one in the column is X, so that's my first answer choice. So my answer to 21 is D. It's easy to do with matrices, but if you need help with matrices, come see me. A shipping company started with 40 employees. The number of employees of the shipping company increases as a rate of 7.5%. Which of the following can be used to model the number of employees at the shipping company? Well, first off, we see we're working with a exponential because we see an exponential function, which has y equals a times b to the x. Well, a is our y-intercept or our start. Well, we started with 40. That means we're looking at these two, which means we can get rid of A and C. A and C are gone. Now, key phrase, increases. All right, it's increasing, so that means B has to be greater than 1. Well, this one is less than 1, so it can't be D, so it must be this one. And remember, it's 1. If it's increasing, we got to be greater than 1, so this is the one that's increasing. So let's check it out. Let's make sure if it's increasing, it's going to be going up, and we can also eliminate D by showing that it's going down. So let's take a look at those. Let's take a look at A, B, and D, because we already know it's B, but let's make sure by making sure that it's increasing. So I'm going to go to my share button. And I have 40 and then parentheses 1.075 X. Gosh, B is definitely increasing. And we see that it crosses at 40. That's good. Let's try out D. 40, that's where we're supposed to be starting. Parentheses 0.075. And we raise it to the X. Oh, that one definitely decreases. So it cannot be D, it must be B. All right. Because this is increase. This is increase, this is decreasing. Because this is going up. Up is increasing, down is decreasing. All right. Appreciate you watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Good luck.